What's going on, guys? How's everyone doing? Today we are going to be starting a new series, a new game called Kona. I've I've always wanted to play this game for a while. I saw actually one of YouTubers that I used to watch, still do a lot, Jeff Favignano. He played this game and I thought it was very interesting. I'll link his channel down below. But ever since I watched his gameplay, I really wanted to play this game. But here we go. Quebec, October
Carl
19th.
Faubert sought information for a living. That is to say that ever since he returned from Korea, after having served with the armed forces, he had been working as a private investigator in Montreal. William Hamilton, a rich industrialist, had gotten in touch with him regarding a simple vandalism issue. Nothing to write home about. Not worth hiring a private eye either, just so he can drive for hours on rough roads. But that's how it had always been. The client pays, Carl gets it done.
Now,
They had set up to meet at the general store, his client's business. Well, actually, the entire village had William Hamilton's name written all over it.
I'm just saying this game looks amazing.
When the roads were bad, muddy, or snowed in, it was customary around these parts to close them off. But it was also customary to ignore those signs entirely and drive there anyway. Carl was meeting his client at a store near this area. He was on the right track. Hamilton never mentioned a road-blocking barrier. Why was it needed here in the back of Beyond? That would, however, be a mystery for another day. Carl had waited long enough for someone to come and raise it. Hamilton no doubt knew who managed the barrier. Carl wanted to give him a call, but that would have been too easy though, as sure enough the line was acting up.
A minister. It will be good. That's it? Oh. Oh, let's go check this out over here before we go open up the gate. Nothing but trash cans. Bolt cutters, fire starters.
Still not a soul in sight. There was no point in waiting any longer. Carl had to figure this one out by himself. Hamilton is waiting for Carl in the general store. It was time for him to get down to business. William Hamilton enjoyed a lavish country house built in the very heart of the northern forests, not too far from here. The local populace was divided when it came to the affluent man. Some saw a wealthy philanthropist dedicated to improving the region's economy. Others an aging Englishman who would do anything to further his fortunes. And those ones hated him enough to go on about scheming against him. Hamilton had recently acquired a few local businesses, but the last straw was the reopening of a mine, which gave rise to a wave of protests and threats from the Cree people. Given these circumstances, Carl reckoned that a good number of people must be feeling compelled to oppose Hamilton in one way or another. So far, only the industrialist's house had been a target, but soon enough, Carl thought, the target would become the man himself.
Huh. Now, that so far this game's just been beautiful. The PS5 graphics just made it look amazing too. A few hours later.
Carl needed to get out of there. The cold and the pain required urgent care.
Kona. I only have a fire starter in there, so let's go check out this other car.
The driver had taken off. It was still best to check it out and leave nothing to chance. Carl needed help. It was a small, locked box engraved with the letters W.H. Carl thought about taking it. Nothing was to be left to chance.
How do you open it? God, there we go.
Such heart-wrenching Nordic poetry that was. But Carl didn't care much about flowery language.
Isabel, you give... never mind. You gave meaning to everything. When you disappeared, so did purity. I would defend purity against the winds, the tides against ice.
Complaining was not in
poison.
Carl's nature. It would take more than light injuries to interrupt his investigation.
First aid kits.
This deep in the country, his last hope was to find an abandoned garage or a farm by the roadside. His life depended on it.
There we go. Okay. Inventory. Let's see. Matches, fire starter. Equipment. There we go. First aid kit.
Carl wondered how long he would have to endure this skin-stinging cold.
Okay, I obviously don't go
The
this
cold
way.
was burning Carl. He would not hold up much longer. He had to warm himself.
Oh, come on.
Even better than he had hoped. Carl Faubert had succeeded once more, and was now on his way to new adventures.
Now, do I need... Okay, so I probably need logs. Okay. See what's up here. There's obviously nothing up here. I better get down before I freeze to death.
A fire can't be started with a snap of the fingers.
I wonder if there's anything else in here. There we go. Okay, that's where the chains were for. Now, can you put them on one tire, or can I put them on both? Okay. There we go. You can barely see in front of yourself. Now, this is this is like accurate to all the snow that we've been getting today. Not today, this week.
Spread out on a few acres
Ohio.
of untouched forest, bellowing caribou, everlasting
Not
snow, and
Monday.
undefiled lakes.
We might
The
begin
Manistan region was no tourist hub.
10 inches.
It was said to have been populated for millennia by Cree people, and ever since the industrial era, by the metal mining industry. The truck was running on fumes. Good thing that the general store was close by.
And rendering it. There we go. General store.
The pumps wouldn't surrender their divine nectar so easily. In all likelihood, they had to be switched on from inside the store. A milkman had to drive by every week to fill the bottles. The fresh milk indicated a recent visit. Something fell to the bottom of the box. Carl had no trouble recognizing his employer. He had been killed. There was no need to be a detective to figure that out. But only a detective could have noticed that the killer had to have been very close, that the fatal blow had been given before the victim even realized. An explosion suddenly occurred outside.
Scared me a little bit, not to lie.
Maintaining
wolf.
his composure, Carl recalled something from his military training. Wolves always stay away from populated areas. Wait,
This.
was it about bears? Carl was no electrician, but he could identify a wiring problem when he saw one. A radiator without power is as good as a wood stove without logs.
Where is...
According to that log, it seemed like the whole village owed some money to the general store. Carl was far more interested in the bunch of nearby addresses he had just gotten his hands on, though.
How do I put this camera away?
The snowstorm pummeled everything in its path. Carl was not surprised when he heard no tone. Carl knew that Gilles Lachance was in charge of the general store. That made him one of Hamilton's employees. A very angry employee, as Carl could plainly see.
Well, it's obviously a lot better now. Okay, and I think I have everything, so I'm gonna go out here.
Carl was no electrician, but he could identify a wiring problem when he saw one.
Oh, garage key. Okay, I'm an idiot. There we go. Okay.
Staring intently at the controls won't be enough to make that lift budge. The poor thing was out of power.
Okay, and we should be able to have the things to turn on the powers now. I'll take a few logs just in case. There we go. Okay, I thought I had it turned on in the beginning. so we really don't have anything so far.
Carl knew straight away where to find the infuriated Gilles Lachance. Any good investigation would have to start there.
Well, okay, well, guys, I think I'm going to end this one off here. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I'm starting to stick to the schedule. The second video loaded this week. And I hope everyone likes and subscribes, and see you in the next one.